you doing, man? This is OMG. Hi. I'm so thrilled to show you what I'm about to show you. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to a new video. I'm hyped. I am so hyped. I am like, I'm on another planet looking at you guys on the earth right now. This is OMG Volume 1 for Breaktweaker. No, correction. This is OMG Volume 1 for Omnisphere. Came from Breaktweaker. I'm going to show you some of this work. I'm going to show you how to make your own so that I will share this. It's kind of like these dots were on the paper. There's an arpeggiator inside of Omnisphere, right here. The multimode, which I really got into after Airwave did this incredible series of multis with all this stuff going on. I really got into multimode. I hadn't before. I'd made all these patch libraries. Here's patches. Check out these really cool patches. Patches are cool. This is a whole different concept. This is putting together, instead of the ingredients, this is a whole plate with everything, with the most yummy ingredients I can possibly concoct for you guys. So if you go to the live mode, there's this thing called latch. Latch turns a note on and lets it stay on. And Eric and his team have shown for a while where they would play notes and have latch on, and then they go to another one of the sounds here like this, and then play a different sound in real time, and it's really cool, stuff like that. Well, because you have stack mode, and stack mode can have latch, and it can have a trigger mode, I put the pieces together and said, why not make it so that you have a note you play, and when you do that, it will hit latch. It's all synced to trigger right on 16th notes, so it's all the timing is right. And it's all playing arpeggiators, playing drum samples. Bang! You've got a frickin' drum machine inside of Omnisphere. And that's one note. And then the rest of the keyboard, I've gone crazy. And so has Laurent. I got Laurent Airwave to do some multis. So we have some of his unique view of the world inside of this library. You guys have no idea how exciting this is. So this is, let's do this. So here is Breaktweaker. This is the original. Now, if you have Breaktweaker, it's cool because this still has things that the Omnisphere doesn't. There is no cross grade to get a cheaper version of one or the other. These are two different beasts designed different ways. I'm making it, they're different libraries. It's for the amount of work and the time and effort involved, and what I'm going to ask for this retail-wise, it's totally fair that they are separate entities. Because here, you've got the fills, right? You got the no snare, no, and the breakdowns, variation grooves, okay? But this requires you to now get other plugins involved to do the music parts. This is the groove. And C# is the regular groove without any pitch, right? Okay. So what I did is I recorded each of those different samples that make up, because the way Breaktweaker works, let me explain the whole picture here so that I want this as clear as I can. I want to make sure you guys know the basics. There are 6 possible tracks inside of Breaktweaker. Each track can be assigned a sample, or you can go in here and layer up to 3 things, including synth. You can layer multiple samples. Each sample can have its own synth engine stuff happening, different things, right? So there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the sub. Because when you're doing dubstep, you have to have That by itself is not dubstep. That's the bottom you need, okay? So there's these 6 samples, and I was like doing this library, and I had these people involved, NATO Fields, Toby Pittman, Airwave, all these guys. I'm like, you know, this is 6 tracks. And I'd gotten really into Omnisphere. Airwave's, his library with the multis that did all these incredible things really got me thinking about the power of multi. And it didn't take up as much CPU power as I thought to do it. And I was like, that's really interesting. And so I started playing and experimenting more. And then Omnisphere 2 came out with the ability to load in samples, all this stuff. And I was like, wait, there's 8 possible patches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in Omnisphere. Break Tweaker is using 6 to play at 6 sounds. So if I go over here to the kit, there's 3 variations of every one of these. The kit is the 1. Oh wait, where am I at? I need to go over here. Omnisphere. 1, 2, 3, 6 samples, just like Break Tweaker. Right? Okay. Then I was like, if you were to go over here and instead of kit, let's make it loop. And by the way, these presets are included with the library. This takes the 6 and maps them across the whole keyboard. Go to the keyboard for each one of these patches and turn on the arpeggiator, and the arpeggiator is playing a MIDI file or it's playing a sequence. You can drag MIDI files into this. So some of the hip hop grooves I'm going to show you in a little bit are impossible with the sequencer inside of Omnisphere as far as the arpeggiator goes, because it can't get that hip hop push and pull. It's calculated, so it's a whole different thing. You can drag MIDI files. So this was created based on dragging in MIDI files for the parts. So if you go over here instead of the kit, but to the loop version is this pattern. Here's the pattern inside of Break Tweaker. And it's got all the cool timing things and stuff. You can't do that in Omnisphere. You could, but you can't. I didn't do that. But here it is in Omnisphere. Right? And what's cool, now we go into new territory. I love these things, but I hate these things. Now we go into new territory, because now, oh yeah, I got the whole keyboard. I can. And I can selectively go through, and I can go and say, do I want that to transpose? Like right now, the kick is not transposing. Let's have the kick transpose. The world is different because the samples are inside of a synthesizer engine that has some truly incredible power. Now, Omnisphere 2 also gave you the real-time control to patches. That opened up a whole other can of worms, because now when you're playing this, you move the mod wheel, you can remix the whole thing. I can make kicks go away, bass parts go away, delays come in, reverbs come in, filters go down. You have access to all the synthesizer parameters you can change per patch, as well as all these effects. So the end result is just mind-blowing. So the third and the most exciting part of the Omnisphere library are the grooves. And every one of these kits, there's 49 kits. There's 49 loops, there's 49 grooves. Every one of them, I did this, okay? Now, when you go to the grooves, instead of being mapped across the keyboard and you're playing it, low C makes the drum machine start, or the rhythm machine, or the rhythm computer, whatever you want to call it, play low C, and it follows the tempo through your sequencer. 581 beats per minute, it can do it. And after you've gotten that set to where you got the tempo where you want, then I went kind of program crazy and made patches that complement the groove. So I made the grooves first, And then I went back and I said, where could this go? That'd be kind of cool. And so there you go. That's the concept. Taking the kits from Breaktweaker, putting them into Omnisphere. All of these, creeping, there's a kit. And that maps it so that it's just C to A. And these are huge. I've gotten some really amazing comments from people that own the Breaktweaker version of OMG. That these are the most current genre specific sounds, and I tend to agree. These are rip your head off. There's no effects. That's the sample. Okay, so I have a small list. I'm going to show you a couple, just a small handful of some of these grooves, and then we're going to make one from scratch. Because you know me, my whole philosophy for this whole thing is give you guys the knowledge of how to do this, and then give you these sounds all prepared, and you know what to do to make it yours. You know how to tweak it, edit it, stay in the music mode instead of going into the technical, I don't know how to fix this mode. That's my religion. So let's do this. I'm gonna play Convict from the dubstep world. Aren't these cool? Oh, it's so cool. So this has a bass and it has a, I love this one. I could play this one for hours. Because remember, the mod wheel is so powerful because it's doing stuff to the groove. There's your groove. Pitches are changing, volumes are changing. I mean, you actually have to pull me away from these. It's crazy. Rough Rider, that's another one. This one has a really cool feel to it. Let me give you the flow. Here's the kit of the samples. Okay. The loop, as it appears inside of Breaktweaker, is pretty much like this. Here, let's do this. Okay, here's what it sounds like inside of Breaktweaker. You love that feel, that kaboom. That's so cool. So I used the MIDI file, especially for that kick, to make sure that it would get the timing of that ding boom. Okay, where could I take that for the groove? What would be cool to do with the groove? And there's new samples inside of Omnisphere too. Diego played this really, really cool, it's called The Groove. It is this sound right here, the bark cello staccatos. Round robin, which means each time it plays a note, it's different. It's a different sample, so it's alive. Okay, so here we go. You ready? We're just gonna dive in. Here we go. Isn't that bad? Oh my gosh. And it's a split. The idea. It's nuts. I love that. All this. It's like there's somebody breathing in there. Okay, let me show you real quickly the hip hop because I don't want this. There's going to be one more video I'm going to do after this of performances, and I'm hoping to do it before I leave for the NAMM show. No guarantee, because it just depends on how long it's going to take to get this out the door. Oh, no, I'll do this. 80 beats per minute. This is the hip hop side of things. Again, this is MIDI files being used to get the drums to have the groove. That's not part of the timing of not the timing of Omnisphere. Look at all these. There's 148 this way, just like before. Of these. Here's the kit. Not funky. Let's go down here. Okay. This is a fun one. I love this. This is using drum sounds from Dope VST. I licensed these sounds from them and we used them inside of Breaktweaker. And I paid the license fee so that I could use them inside of Omnisphere and in the future in Contact as well. So these will be coming out in a Contact library later this year. It takes a while to make these, so I gotta go step at a time. So here's the loop. This is kind of how it sounds in pretty much how it sounds in Breaktweaker. Okay, so what could you do to make that for the groove? What could you do? Well, have the drums. And then it makes sense that you'd have the bass. So you can play it. And then since it's synth, so you can break the world down. I mean, it's crazy. I tried to do my serious look for a moment there. So this is so fun to put these things together. So I'm going to show you how to build these. I'm going to show you. All right, before we go, I want to show you one more in this quick, again, I'm going to do a whole walkthrough of everything. Because on top of this, my wonderful assistant, I have an assistant now. I'm so happy to be able to say I have an assistant. And he has gone through, after I've gotten done making these with all these and saved out every patch. So, and then I'm going through the patches and making sure that they're transposed and playing the right range and everything is set exactly as we want it to be. But this way, when you go to the program mode and you go to the OMG drums, there's over 300 patches. It's gonna be like 350 for all the basses, the synths, the leads, the hits, the special effects, as well as all the claps, the hats, the kicks, the snares, the perk, the rides, all in one library. OMG. I'm not kidding. That's why I called it OMG. I saw where this was going to end up, and I went, oh my God. So that's what I had to call it. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. This is Trip, the kit. This is another one that has a really cool feel to it. So if we go to the loop, here we go. It's fun to transpose around the keyboard. Okay, so I gave these to Airwave. I said, Airwave, I want you to do this. Do some of this forward thinking. Where could I take this? Where could I take this groove? That would be cool. And Airwave took it 90% of the way there. And then I did some sweetening to it at the end. And we have... Crazy. There's a chill patch in Break Tweaker that I did, and I didn't convert it yet. So we're going to convert it and make it now for the library. There's all these other chill ones. Let me show you these really quick. These came out. Some of these, you'll want to be on the stack page to see how it's laid out. You can see that these from C down is where you play to trigger the groove, right? It's a bass, and then up here is this synth. So we need to make one of these for a groove called Darkscape. And it sounds like this. And I liked it because I was really happy I forgot to do this. So we could do this together. And huge groove. Okay, I'm coming back and doing this section again. I did it once, and sometimes I have to do these a couple of times, just kind of to get in the flow, get in the right mindset, so that it didn't go quite right. I want it to go better. So I think I've reset everything. I'll let you know. I want to cover both installation, because there's a couple things kind of different here since you're dealing with the multi. These three things are a new preset that you get to have inside and use, and I'll show you how we use those in a little bit. As well as when you get to the Arpeggiator, there's now a whole bunch of folders for all the different patterns that are found for all the different drum parts in all the different grooves. They are all included as Arpeggiator patterns, and it's really fun. Call up a groove. Well, see, I get fragmented so easily. Seems to be getting easier to do that as I get older. I'm kind of worried about that. Okay, I'll shut up now. So when you get the library, if you don't know where your Omnisphere folder is, like I've shown you before, you hit the little logo right here and you hit diagnostics. And after it chugs for a while, it will tell you right here at the bottom where your Omnisphere Steam folder is at. Find it. We want to go to the settings library. Well, first of all, install.atmosphere is how you will install the main core part of the library. That's how it loads the samples. There's, I think, 280, some 90 samples. There's over 350 patches. It's crazy number of patches because every drum sound is saved out as a patch with its arpeggiator pattern intact that it came with from the groove that it came from. It's insane. My assistant, Franklin Taylor Harris, is rocking the boat. He's doing that as we speak. And then multis. And if you go to the multi-mode, there's 3. There's the kit that I showed you about previously, which is just the... This is what you would use with your sequencer and just... And I wanted to touch on this briefly. This layout is just a single kick and a single snare. So it's kind of a different religious approach to drum programming compared to Mega Macho Drums. Mega Macho Drums was this big menu that had 10 kicks and 10 snares and toms and a whole bunch of hi-hats and a whole bunch of crazy stuff up the keyboard. This is the more custom-tailored suit approach, I call it, kind of, where you call something up and it's... Even if it's just a kick, snare, and hat. If you listen to popular music, or not so popular music, you'll notice it's pretty consistent that it's not really huge, complex layers of a whole bunch of different drums. It's usually a really focused kick drum, really focused snare drum, maybe a hi-hat, maybe a couple other auxiliary parts in there. But it's not like the 80s and 90s when we used to layer up as many loops in acid as we could while building up the tracks. I did that with a number of albums where we would just make as many loops as we could, and then we'd add them later, and you'd EQ parts from one another. You don't do that much anymore. So here you go. That's all you need, 6 sounds. So these are kits with 6 sounds. The loop is... And then the awesomely cool, fun... or the stuff, and then the groove at the bottom. So that's the layout of the library and where things are placed. When you get to wanting to install the arpeggiator patterns and the stacks, and then the bonus presets of envelopes, arpeggiators, and more effect racks, you would go to your Steam folder, to your Omnisphere folder, to settings, to presets, and then to the user folder. And here's where the envelopes go. The arpeggiator presets will go in here. So you've got the 6, as well as the bonus ARPs. And then if you have Saber Sphere comes with ARPs. For the effects, it's down here in what's called the racks. So you go down the list, find the racks folder, and open this. And this is where the PlugInGuru effects racks go. And if you own Airwave, those effects racks will go right there. And then stack. This is the new stuff for the loop, kit, and groove. These are the 3 elements that all it is just changing the mapping quickly, so you can quickly say, I want to lay it out as a kit. And it'll tell you latch is on and it's set to trigger on 16th notes. So we'll cover all that in a minute. Loop maps them all the way across the keyboard, and then groove. And it doesn't change any of these latch and the trigger modes or anything else. It's just setting up the stacks of up to 8 patches. So that's how those work. So we're going to initialize this multi, because now the fun part. I want to teach you how to build your own OMG drum machine, basically. That's the idea. So it all started with a groove from Break Tweaker that I realized I have not converted into OMG yet. And this takes up all the computer CPU power just to play this simple groove with, I think there's 2 layers there, 2 layers there for the snare. That's a single sample, that's a single sample. This is 2 layers and a single sample. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. like 9 samples, and it completely takes down your computer and Break Tweaker. Once we build this up, we can be playing pads and chords and effects and all this stuff going on, and it will use less power than Break Tweaker. It's crazy. It's amazing. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go Kit. So that way it will map it automatically and turn on stack mode. Now, I have taken those 6 sounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have already recorded them into Logic and then bounced them out as audio, and they are now here in the hat, so forth, kick, snare, perk, in what I call the Darkscape audio folder. We're on an initialized multi. And we come down here and let's hit the reset. So make sure that it's all clean on the directory. Darkscape audio, go to user audio and drag this. Now you notice I've got this name something. This is important to know that if you don't have a name, if I just took these samples and I just dragged them like this, it puts them into an arbitrary folder over here. And I think you can rename it later. I think just by, yeah, you can option click on it to rename it. But it's just nice to drag a folder with a name on it. And now it will convert it and it will have that folder's name for the directory over here. Okay, and it quickly did that. So we now have, because Omnisphere does not play just WAV files. It has to convert them to its own version of a WAV file. There's additional information that it puts into it. I don't know what it's doing, but it's unique. Just the way it works, you know. I don't know. Anyway, it converts it so that it's working like that. So now we go to part 1. Oh, and I want to show you a cool trick. So we let's close this and go over here. I have to keep ducking around my webcam. Sonics, Steam. So here's Steam, Omnisphere, sound sources to user. And I'm going to go into the OMG drums, and there's 4 graphic images that Omnisphere needs for each sample. And that's the library images. So I'm going to copy these guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put them into the new Darkscape audio files. Open. So this way, when I mailed the library and export it, it will have the graphics necessary to be complete. Because this library is supposed to come out in the next day or 2. So don't have time to dilly-dally. Just paste, paste, paste. And there we go. So now I can go over here to Dreamscape Audio. Darkscape Audio, I should say. Excuse me. And it loaded up a kick. And you notice it's down an octave. Turn off key tracking. Okay. Now, what I would suggest doing is I would go to the effects, and I think I have in the buffer. Yeah, I've got my, and I want a little bit different velocity. I want to have the filter, no velocity sensitivity to the filter. Depends on how much velocity sensitivity you want. That's fine. Mod wheel. We will leave it alone for the moment. There's a distortion in here just waiting to be used, but we won't use it. So let's say copy this part and paste this part. And by doing this, it copies that setting in the effect racks. So when you go to the effects, Part 2 now has those effect racks set up. So I don't have to keep rebuilding that from scratch. And go to part 2, and that's supposed to be the snare. And it also remembers the tracking is now off, which is nice. 3 is the, let's see, paste the part. Hat closed. 4. Paste the part. There's a hat open. 5 is the big drone, so paste the part. Darkscape drone. And then 6 is a tambourine. And actually, yeah, we'll just use this one just for sake of, paste the part. And then say percussion. I should say tambourine, but I can't rename it here. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do this. For this one, I'm going to go to OMG, down the list to perk, and at the end, tambo verb, same sample. And let's make sure my filter release time is long for everybody. Forgot about that. Seems really loud, doesn't it? So now we go to the multi, to the mixer, bring everything down like maybe 4 dB. You could do it here, or you could do it on the part level basis. I kind of tend to do it here. And you can bring and adjust things up as you need. Still hot. Maybe I will do this. Multi, get rid of the auxiliary effects that are not being used. And paste our little rack. It's kind of like my production rack. And it has a volume here. Oh, that's what I can do. Here's a quick shortcut. So that's a lot of makeup. I don't need that much makeup. So we can say, copy this rack. Now go to each of these and paste, 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 5. And the tambourine should actually probably have like 0. Okay. And go here to the mix. Now they're not named yet, so we can go to here. This is kick, darkscape, a boomer. Darkscape. I'm going to name them just by option clicking in here. Hat. This is hit. The drone. And 6, this is the verby tambo. Okay, so we now have 6 patches that have 6 samples assigned by using the multi-stack mode, going over here and setting it to kit. Everyone's windowed to 1 or 2 notes. So you can go C, D, E, F, G, A, and I have the groove. So we've made the kit, and we could, let's save it just to be safe. So go save multi, and this is the chill. Darkscape kit. And I'll fill in all this stuff later. We'll say authored. John, I'm cool. OMG. Okay. Save. So it's saved and backed up just in case the power goes off. And I have that's a whole other story. This place that I'm renting and living at, it has a really bad old electricity. And a lot of you might have this problem. One when my daughter stays here, if the heater upstairs in her room goes on, it will sometimes kill the circuit breaker to this room because they're all on the same power grid. And it actually blew up a hard drive, and I lost a whole bunch of data, and then I had to take the hard drive to a shop, and they were actually able to retrieve 99% of the data, thank goodness. But I learned my lesson. Right over here, I have this box, it's hard to say this, uninterruptible power supply. And it's really cool. It's actually been needed to be used a couple of times. It's basically a big battery and a power conditioner all in one, so that if the circuit breaker goes down, if the circuit breaker dies, you know, the battery in there immediately kicks on, keeps the room running, keeps the computer running, keeps everything in here running for up to an hour, I think, for me to be able to then shut things down and then or go reset the power supply circuit breaker. So if you have problems, if you have circuits that go out in your place, get an uninterruptible power supply. Learn to say that word. They're like $400. It's really awesome. Okay, so the next step in this process is to make the arpeggiated pattern. And so you'd go to each one of these, turn on the ARP, and there's a couple ways to do this. You could create a MIDI file in your sequencer and then drag it over here. And there's some issues. I've reported to Spectrasonics, and it seems that the way MIDI files are working is the way that they want it to work. So they're not concerned about changing it. It will double the notes that you have MIDI note data on with these notes. Even if you say blank and then drag in a MIDI file, it was causing some weird things to happen. So I would suggest, after doing that for some, I did some hip hop ones that really needed to have the MIDI file, and I figured out what I needed to do to get them to work right, but it's not an easy process. So don't do that. Long story short, don't do that. What we want to do is, this is 70 beats per minute. So we'll say about 70 beats per minute. And then this is the kick. So what works really good for me for the kick is just go down here to the starters and say 4x4. And make sure you go up here to multi. And now instead of being in kit mode, go here to stacks and change it to loop. And it's playing them all across the keyboard, right? But the first one's going to be the arpeggios playing. So let's just build it really quick. Go here, say this can be the snare. Three, go to 16th. 4 can be upbeats, starters, upbeats. Let's have the tambourine part be also like a snare part. I'm going to adjust this to be right. It's not right yet, but you'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. And let's do this. Let's go to the mixer real quick and mute my favorite drone. So it's really easy to quickly make a pattern, as you can see. Nothing's transposing on the keyboard yet. That's where you will go in. Well, the drone will be the guy that transposes probably in this. But let's listen to the original groove. So it's not on the downbeats. It's boom, boom. So let's go to the kick. And the hi-hat needs to be get some dynamics in here, so let's have it going up and down a little bit. See what else we got going. Almost there. That part's a little loud, so let's go over here. Pan things around a little bit. All right, so, and the mod wheel isn't doing anything yet. Let's go to the kick part. Let's have the snare transpose and maybe the closed hi-hat just for fun to see what it's like. Isn't that cool? And middle C with the drum sounds, because there's if you have the pitch, the root pitch at the very end of the sample name, when you import it into Omnisphere, it will transpose it up and down the keyboard to be in pitch. All the drum sounds, that wasn't done, so they all play on root C. In fact, I need to really quickly solo this. And he's quite loud, so let's turn him down. Turn this on. There. Now it's in pitch. And we could say, turn this on and have it be a sine wave or something. Adding a sine wave to anything makes it better. And let's... Nice. So let's save this as the loop. And you notice I haven't really gotten into production stuff yet. I'm saving that. So I'll name that all in a later date this evening, later tonight. So now we're ready for the next step. Groove. Do I like? Here's the original. I'm going to turn pitch off so I can find the original. There's F. So play F. I like that. But now we're ready to go to the next level. This is where the last pieces of the puzzle to make the rhythm drum machine element come to play. So we go over here and we call up the groove. Actually, before we do that, just to show you how this works, there's a little toggle right here. This is the magic toggle button. It shows you the latch. Now you can do this from stack. You can go over here and you can say latch mode, and you can say I want it to be triggered to 16th notes. I just find it to be easier and faster if you do this, because now you can just click to turn latch on. Latch means that you play a note, now it's holding that note. When you play latch again on that same note, it will unlatch whatever was being held down. Now let's set these to be triggered to 16th notes. That way it's timed out right and everything. Now, okay. Now, it's playing, it won't stop until that's the problem. You go, well, it's playing, it won't stop. And Now it's working right. Just play the same note again, I guess. Yeah, you have to play the same note that you triggered in order to make it stop. That's why mapping it so it's down here on low C worked out really well. So now go over here to your stacks and say groove. And what this does is it just shoves all the first 6 down so that only these 6 stop at C. And you can hear there's key tracking on the filter. So let's turn it off. If it's still not enough, you can go here to the offset. Bring this up. Okay. Now, that bass, this drone, I'm going to click and drag this region up. For these 2 octaves, it's going to be... So that means that we now have to go to another page that you might not know about. And that's right here. You have an octave up and down. So there. I can play a note. It starts to groove. That whole thing's still a little loud. So let's bring everybody collectively down. That's good. Okay. I still haven't done any production stuff yet. I really like to save that until I know that I have solid without effects, and then we can make it even better. So if you look at the stack page, I still have 2 parts I could use, or I could use just one. Let's just start with 1 and go over here to 7. Just for fun, let's initialize patch. Make sure it's not initialize multi. I've done that before and lost work. Don't do that. So now we can hear it's and what I think I'm going to use, you don't know this yet, but inside of OMG, for some of the patches, it's using patches from a lot of my other libraries, because unlike maybe other companies that might not feel comfortable doing this for whatever reason, this is like the top of a pyramid of work. And so I'm not afraid. I've used a couple things from Mega Magic Pads. I used some Mega Magic Dream samples. There's a couple patches from Omnipulse. There's from Toxic Omnisphere, from Airwave. And I talked to the guys, and they're all cool because it's promotion. I'm not using those patches stock. In other words, if I wanted to for 7, I thought I had initialized so it was playing. Oh, I'm on sample. Let's say that I wanted to go to Kid Anthem. Really cool library, really creative. There's some really cool textures. So let's maybe want to play the fun texture thing for up. Ooh. Now, I'm going to go right here to the octave. This might need something else with it. Now, I'm seeing that it's only using A. B is not lit up. So let's go to B. Let's go to maybe some warmish. warm it up. Yeah. Let's use an analog chorus. And because we're rhythmic hoons, I love rhythm. Let's have a rhythmic element to this. And I think we'll do it to the... Question is, do I want to do it to the whole thing? Yeah, I do. So let's go paste the effects rack. And then right here, let's add an imager and assign this to an LFO. And let's say sync. And I want it to be a pulse. And let's say 1/8 nodes. Not quite such a huge range. And actually, I want it to be unipolar, so it's just an up and down. Rhythm, we have a couple interesting choices. I'm going to actually turn on trigger to 16th notes. So that way it's locked to the drums. And I think something else down here. So see, it's just an organic growing process. You just kind of like pick and choose. And I want this to have something cool. So let's go to Omnipulse. Omnipulse is the go-to for really cool, creative, fun. Let's see. Again, since we got timing, this has to be set to 16 notes. So that way you can trigger it fine. We could be simple like that. That's cool. Let's get rid of some of the low end because there's so much low end. Let's do this. Let's copy this effect and turn it off. And we'll bring up a little bit of the master auxiliary and we're going to stick this effect right here. And then I want it to go into a reverb. So it kind of diffuses it. And I want 100% delay. That way the reverb is only on the delay elements and none of the original attack is getting the reverb. So it's only on the delays. And then I want to go over here and assign to the wheel. And at the same time, let's get into our really fun creative. Now we're starting to be on the creative side of things, right? So we want to go filter, power filter, high pass filter. Love this sucker to death. Let's modulate that. The wheel, give it a high range. See? It's starting to get fun. But this is Darkscape. a little bit too happy and bright. So let's do this. Amazing how it can come together so nicely. There's a sound in the, is it part 7? Yeah. This needs to be modulated even more. It's not doing enough motion stuff. So let's go over here and say the ultra chorus, lush. Slow down the rate and bring up the depth a little bit. Let's turn it down. Turn on unison. Because I brought it up an octave because it was too much sine wave, too focused on the pure, and I wanted it to be more diffuse, and I want more interesting harmonics, frequency-wise. And that's cool. Let's see how it sounds in the mix. Again, I'm gonna have to check this with speakers when I'm done, but just to give you an idea. So let's look at the production for the drum kit, and then we'll call it a day for what this is going to be for now. Oh, I think I've got, yeah. Okay, there. I had the low note. I was like, what? I had the bass part playing on the low C stuff. Don't want that. Okay, what do we want to do to this? I think I want the snare big, so it'd be cool if that goes up in pitch. So let's modulate that with the wheel. And when it does that, it's got to get a splash of reverb. So we go over here, we say wheel, lots. Let's also have it get some distortion in it. So that's cool. Proverb. Huge reverb, long time, no pre-delay. Cool, little splash. Not 100%, and I want to compress it. I want it to be able to be a little bit more in your face. And it'll help the reverb stay longer to have a compressor on it. And the kick, it's got to go away. So go over here to the level, modulate with the wheel. Let's have, here's a cool trick. So we'll go like this. I want that snare. Yeah, that's cool. Modulate with the wheel. Invert it. So it's gonna bring this high pass filter up. Get rid of the bottom. Cool. Okay. The hi-hat. It's open. Modulate with a wheel. And let's have this for effects go into a radio delay. Love this delay. It's got a resonant filter on it. Let's say a dotted eighth and a dotted quarter note. Oh, we need to open up the high pass. The low pass filter needs to be more open so we can hear it better. Bring up the feedback, and let's put it through a reverb too. And let's put this through dynamics. And along with that change, we want the pitch to change too. And the tambourine, I love a low pitched tambourine. Let's have the wheel invert the volume so it's softer. What's not to like? It's so cool to have all this power inside of one plugin that you sit and focus and work with. So let's save this as the groove. I'll probably work on it a little bit once I get it on speakers, but you get the idea of the power. It's insane. Okay, I'm gonna do one video tomorrow after the library is out. I'll go through the patches and give you a quick demo of most of the multis, at least the groove multis, and talk a little bit more about the patches and maybe show you a couple of tricks. Maybe tomorrow I'll hit on how to change these presets, mix them up and stuff. But I want to get this, I want you to get excited. It's a new world. This is a whole new world of creativity inside of one machine. For those of you concerned that, you know, some of these are like kind of really big production-y things, and maybe that's not what you're looking for. I want to point out that a lot of the hip-hop ones, a lot of these are really cool, just bass and keyboard split. So start writing away. And if you don't want it to swing, you could go to the hi-hat and the tambourine parts that are swinging. Which parts are swinging the most? Yeah, the tambourine. Go down here, go to hats, and say like, step it up. Go to the kick, they want to be straight. Oh, that's one of the things you got to be aware of. When you're changing arpeggiator presets or when you're changing the samples, it loses the latch to the arpeggiator. So you have to stop your sequencer and whole different feel. Yeah? It's straight. So I'll show you more about all that stuff tomorrow or after the NAMM show. I might not get to the other video, but I hope you're excited. This is something I've been working and thinking about for a while, and I'm really happy to get it into your hands. Enjoy and be creative. Okay? All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.